And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, RF Refugees podcast. Ted here, John here to talk DC United, Washington Spirit, U.S. men's, women's national team, all soccer, all the time. Maybe some other stuff. I don't know. Usually, whatever comes across our mind. John's with me. John, how you doing, my friend? How was your weekend?
It was good. I feel like there was lots of soccer that I didn't get to watch. So I think Saturday night was Saturday night. There, I will not name names. There may have been people who had the Copa America final on during the Spirit game in the press box on their own computers. I'm not gonna say who it was, but some people were doing that. And then on Sunday, I was in a car driving my grandmother back to Pennsylvania, and then missed the Italy England. So I know there was lots of great games other people got to watch. Did you get to watch any of
Yes.
those games?
So I did miss I missed the Copa America. I got back for the Gold Cup Mexico. Watched a little bit of that, then went to bed. My wife really wanted to go see the Black Widow movie. I think she is a Marvel fan, so
How was it?
I it was good. I think it came out. It came out, let's say, 2 years too late. They sort of said it. If you're an MCU nerd, they said it after the events of Civil War. I won't spoil too much. I think it sets up some interesting things kind of going forward for some of the characters. But overall, I mean, I thought it was a decent movie. I just think it came out way too late. They should have done it after Civil War. They should have helped set up Infinity War, but uh, there were
This is
decisions made by MCU that were not good. Let's just say.
this has been RFK Refugees Movie Corner.
Movie
So
corner.
would you recommend paying $30 on Disney Plus for it? Yes or no? Unless you are a hyper Marvel fan.
I would say, I mean, right now, if the pandemic is over, just go to the movies and pay what, 13, 14, $15 for the ticket rather than the $30 on.
Unless there's two of
Unless,
you, or three, or
yeah,
four.
yeah, unless you got kids and a family. If it's just you, I mean, I would say if it's the two of you, if it's you and your significant other, then or you and a friend, I would say go to the movies. If it starts to get a bit more, yeah, sure, pay the $30, watch it. If I would say only watch it if you like the MCU universe. Don't go expecting anything more than just kind of a nice little romp and a little bit some callbacks. The callbacks are there. Let me just say.
I would imagine.
Um,
All
but yeah,
right,
let's let's
sports.
get let's get to the main thing. The main thing people are here to listen for,
Capital
as I'm
Cup.
sure.
Clearly, I'm
Yeah,
sure they want to talk about the Capital Cup.
they clearly want to talk about the Capital Cup. There's some interesting. I have some. I feel like we kind of glossed over this whole thing, this whole
Yes, we did.
Capital Cup thing. We kind of just like, oh, it's happening. The team made a little bit bigger deal out of this thing than I was expecting, especially with the trophy and everything. But we'll get into that. Let's start with the team that actually played a
Game
let's
that
say
counted.
I'm not going to say the Capital Cup isn't meaningful, but it let's just say that the level of meaningfulness is certainly more on the Washington Spirit end. Washington Spirit getting a 2-0 win with North Carolina Courage. John, I'll start with you, my friend. You were out there at Audi Field watching that game. Give us some of your thoughts.
I was, yeah, it was beautiful weather. The game was such a contrast from the Chicago game. So if you happen to watch the Red Stars game where the Spirit lost 1-0 at Segra, it was sort of a dour game. It was the ball was not moving well on the Segra pitch because you still can't water it. And then also Chicago sort of came set up to not really attack. They just sort of bunkered in They had their two defensive midfielders. The Spirit couldn't solve it. Trinity left halfway in the game through back spasms, and then they scored a really weird, stupid goal. So to me, I was a bit concerned going into the Courage game this last weekend, because of that. Like, they were not their best. They were not hitting on all cylinders. And then, of course, they were amazing from the start whistle. The Spirit were playing with supreme confidence. They were playing like the Courage were some garbage high school team. Like, every player on the field was trying tricks, every play and executing them and able to do it. Ashley Sanchez was playing out of her mind from minute one. She had 7 shots. She had 3 shots on goal, 3 saves, 3 like diving saves on her shots, hit the crossbar twice. Just bananas, just really out of her mind the whole time. Should have had a goal around the 85th minute with there was a bit of some free kick trickery where another diving save occurred. But Ashley Hatch, we don't want to bury the lead, scored 2 goals to go back to the top of the leaderboard for Golden Boot in NWSL. Her main competition there, Lynn Williams and Alex Morgan, are in Japan. So she's got an opportunity to sort of build up a little bit of lead there. Her confidence finishing was great. She had 2 opportunities and converted 2 of them. We talked in the past sort of about the volume of opportunities the Spirit were going to create. You just had to have a finisher that could just place it in the net. I think we even have it here in the notes that the second goal was the goal of the game. The second goal was where it was crazy. Andy Sullivan anticipates a ball in the midfield, steps, intercepts, and then makes about a 25, 30-yard run on a 2v2 with Ashley Hatch, gets the second defender to commit towards her, plays the ball between both of them, splits the defenders. Ashley takes 1 touch, puts it in the corner, game over, done deal. It was artful. Like, it was just a great play from start to end. And Andy Sullivan got left off the team, and she's gonna do this. This is what she's gonna do. She did this in the last time she made the World Cup roster, and now she's just going to show out every week for the rest of this season probably.
And I think that the definition of that goal, that's a real big backbreaker, I think, for the Courage. So you're going into halftime, you're down 1-0. They had some opportunities in this game. Yeah, Audrey Bledsoe came out and made some really good saves in that first half, but then kind of to give up that goal right before halftime, I think that it maybe sealed the deal as far as the win. You're going to halftime, you got to sort of pick yourself back up. Obviously, let's not bury the lead here. The Courage were missing several talents. Obviously, Lynn Williams is over in Japan as an alternate or part of the 22-person roster. I forget what the whole result of that was.
Practice player currently, reserve.
Practice
and then
player.
Also, Dabinia and Sam Mewis also not available. But you know what? You play the team in front of you, and they weren't missing any of their defenders. So the Spirit really put them to the sword there from the beginning of the game. And like you said, Aubrey Bledsoe made a couple sort of reaction saves. The Courage were not generating opportunities from build up play. They were either counters, they were long ball crosses. That's really what the situation was. So they really had the game under control. They didn't ever really feel like they were in danger. Carson Pickett had a good first half, 60 minutes, running up and down the left flank. But Jess McDonald had a couple chances she should have converted. She didn't, thankfully. But other than that, it was quiet from them. And the Spirit really were threatening. They could have had more goals. Obviously, they could have had more goals. But it's great. I don't want to say a signature win because, like you say, this was not a full strength Courage side. And I think if you ask, there's many players that you can ask, and actually even came out of the press box, like some people's favorite game is still the Spirit win over the Courage at the Plex. This won't go down like that. This is sort of the Ashley Sanchez like sauce game from my perspective. Ashley Hatch obviously scored the 2 goals, but that's what I'll remember it as. But this was not the Courage at their best, like you say. This is just about how do you utilize this Olympics break to build up your point lead? How do you get into first and stay into first? I think Orlando is going to have more of a problem than the Spirit is. And I think that's really, and North Carolina, that they were on top of the table and they just got played off the field. So use this month to your advantage. You have more depth in the places that you lost. You're Olympians. You're ready to rock. I'm very excited to see how they do the rest of the way. They're playing at Segra on Saturday. I wish they wouldn't, because they looked a lot worse at Sagres. So I don't necessarily think it was not all the opponents. I think it was also sort of it was the field, but they're playing Gotham, and Gotham is also looking a lot better this season. So make sure if you're close by and can make it out, it's a 5 p.m. start. I was a little disappointed at the 5,000 attendance on Saturday with DC United not playing a game that counted. And I said it on Twitter. I said it on rfkrefugees.com. Get out to these games. If you're a DC United fan and you can make it, like, there's no reason for you not to make it out. The team is too good. The quality of play is too high. You gotta make an effort. You gotta get out there. I know that there's, we're still in a pandemic, so I give people a lot of grace for that. But the tickets are affordable and the games are great. So make it out. That's my only pitch. That's my advocacy hat. Go see it.
Yeah, go see it. Go support. I'm always somebody who feels you should support local soccer. I still carry that flag against the USMNT bros, which we'll talk a little bit about that. The Eurosnob people that peruse U.S. soccer boards and like to think that there isn't good soccer here in the U.S. when there actually is. So that's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, I mean, I think a signature win's a good point. I mean, I compare this. You got to go and beat teams when they're down. And DC did that last week against Toronto, and the Spirit did that against the Courage. You can't just look at those results and say, oh well, they weren't playing that strike and just toss them trash. No, you take advantage of the situation that's in front of you. And if you don't, then then you're probably not making the playoffs and you're probably not competing. So I think that's certainly a good win from them, and certainly we'll look forward to seeing more from the Washington Spirit. Moving on, we got to talk about the glorious Capital Cup. All right, yes. I made a little joke on Twitter that got some traction. Let me just be clear, I'm not being serious about that tweet at all. But I do not think DC United. So I mean, this tournament. I mean, I think we all saw it and we're like, oh, cool. I do feel like there is a certain sense. This tournament was kind of a reminder to me about where we are in the United States versus the rest of the world, and just how bad this pandemic still is in a lot of places in the world. And we saw it in the Copa America. We've seen it, and this time it kind of came. You had 3 clubs. You had Puebla, you had Alajuelense and Alianza from El Salvador. Puebla had 10 players and staff, I think, get COVID, so they were out. I don't think they traveled at that point. And then you had, I believe I heard 1 positive COVID test from Alianza. So I think they dropped out as a precaution, but apparently there was still talk, like they were probably like, we traveled here. we're not just going to go home and give us a game. And I think DC probably set some stipulate, okay, you guys got to be, you guys got to be, make sure no more positives, quarantine, masks, we'll work, and then we'll see. So apparently, I would say if you're DC, you're not playing them. I would hope you're not playing them, unless you're entirely sure that everything is kosher with them.
I think most of DC is vaccinated now, so at least there's that. If they're worried about
most, if not all, I would hope it's
right.
all.
Right, I would too, but you can't be sure. We have not had a Canadian trip yet, so that's the funniest thing. I'm not sure if people have seen that. Basically, there was a trade. I think it was Eric Hurtado from Vancouver was traded to another team because he refused to get the vaccine, and you can't cross the border unvaccinated. So they were going to be unable to bring him home, so they just traded him. So yeah, if your favorite team is playing a team in Canada, and all of a sudden a player who is not injured, does not travel, what's up. It's it's a secret scarlet letter that you get to find out on how people feel about it. But that was a weird trade, and I bet it won't be the last one. I bet we might see some more of those, which is beyond silly. Yes, a certain former
long-time DC United player. Apparently, he, I guess, made it to Canada and had to quarantine for 2 weeks. He had posted on Instagram, and a lot of people were saying, there's a way out of this,
It's very simple. It's very easy.
It's very simple. Very simple, very easy. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously they got the game on Wednesday. I think maybe Losada's happy about that. Apparently this game on July 14th was supposed to be the return of Edison Flores, which if you don't check out my piece on Edison Flores I wrote not really like heavily into detail, but sort of outlining that right now with the way this team is playing, there are no more excuses for him. He needs to figure it out. He needs to become a major factor in this team. Every single player on the field, every single player, maybe with the exception of Emil Hassan, but I would even argue that's maybe a little bit after what we saw against Toronto. Every single player has benefited from Hernan Losada's system right now, except for Edison Flores. And part of that's injury. He has a couple nice moments, but right now the team is flying, and he has to figure out a way to make a part of that and to really earn his contract. So this is a crucial point for him. I think this is the make or break it year. I think if he does not have at least a semi-solid end to the season, I could see this team saying, you know what, we're going to cut bait. This is it. We're going to figure out a way to sell you. Sell him to Liga MX, sell him somewhere else. Maybe you take a hit on the transfer fee, but you free up that roster space. We'll see. It's certainly a critical time for him. I don't know. Did you have a chance to watch the DC United Capital Cup final?
I saw like the last 15 minutes of the game, and I saw the trophy presentation. So I'm not prepared to. The trophy presentation was at least funny. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know how much you can really. I don't know how much you can really. I guess, really draw much from the game. Obviously, Bolivar gets the goal, a really nice goal. He does a really nice touch, moves around. I am wondering, we had speculated on the show. The part of the reason that Bolivar is in Loudoun right now is because DC United doesn't have the available international spots. And we have heard that Eric Sorga is apparently still in Estonia right now. Estonia, right? Sorry about that.
Yep, you got it.
Awaiting a green card so he can come back. And as soon as he gets a green card, he no longer counts as an international for DC United. So basically that all means that frees up an international spot. Now, whether the team uses that, but I think maybe this is an opportunity for Boulevard maybe to show some stuff. And maybe if DC doesn't see anything they like, they bring in Johnny Boulevard and have him maybe play a role in this team in some capacity. What did you think? Yeah, go ahead.
He's done well for Loudoun. He scored, I think maybe 2 goals from open play and 2 goals from the penalty spot, I think. I don't know. Like you said, it was interesting to see the part I did see of him playing with the first team was good. I think that's great. I think he will get some more minutes on Wednesday. I think for exactly that reason, to sort of evaluate where he is vis-a-vis the rest of the options. There's a lot of comments in the chat about how Ola is still no good. I think Ola is in a very good position, being sort of knocked off the unquestioned starting spot. I think that Nigel and Ola are very neck and neck to me right now as far as who should be starting. It's really about matchups and sort of health. I think him having a point to prove is only going to benefit DC United. I think he had his time in the sun as sort of like the unquestioned starter, the unquestioned, who else are you going to play? Basically was the situation. And now there's another option so that he makes the most of his time on the field. I think that's good. I think that I still, obviously you can make improvements on all these players. I think there was somebody talking about, there was surprise that DC United was being linked to players like defenders. Like, I can't believe we're looking at a center back. I'm like, yeah, man, he has not had an opportunity to buy the type of players that he wants. He has made a decent showing of sort of reworking players that maybe didn't fit into his style. There will be some changes. You can count on that. If this team continues to do well and the team opens up at all, the pocketbook, there will be players that you would think can't move that will move. So that's just something to think about as a new coach comes in. That's what he's going to want to have happen. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as we go to this window, as there are players that are being looked at. They're not big names. Clearly, that's not where they're going at. But there are players in positions where you wouldn't think we'd need help, and we're looking at them. So
yeah, and maybe the center back signing was a little bit of a. I do wonder. So we got to talk about the big injury news. We'll get to other minor injury news that gave us all a
is
heart
there
attack.
Anything in particular you want to tweet about?
Yeah, we made us tweet a lot, very angry things. I guess the only other thing, the game, the game against Gonzalo Wednesday got a little chippy. that game got kind of chippy towards. There were some moments. There were some moments in that game. Obviously, I think DC United as a whole, this was very much a business type move.
Okay.
I'm sure they
I'm gonna
wish
put you on
that they
hold.
were able to have
The guys are
all three
go over
teams. It would have been a nice
and
showing.
they're
But hey,
they're
I
ready.
don't
They're
mind the team
rejigging,
doing
so.
things like this, especially when you have a gap where you don't have games. It gives you an opportunity to get a look at some players. Everybody was like, "Oh, I'm against anything. I'm against anything like this with having midseason games. Like if it's in the middle of the break, who cares?" We got Rich on the line who wants to argue about. I'm assuming he wants to argue about Ola Kamara. I'm going to take a wild guess there. Am I right, Rich?
Yeah. I also want to say I hope Paul's okay. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure we all do. And John saying he doesn't care about international soccer. We don't believe that.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I never will.
Okay. So here's the thing: is that you said that Ola has done everybody a benefit. I don't think Ola has really benefited from the system at all. I don't think it really fits him. I don't think it's kind of like it's like Josie Altidore in Toronto. He doesn't fit the system that we're trying to play. He's not a pressing forward. He's not a mover. He's not getting in good positions. He had one good goal, one game where two really, really awesome goals. I mean, can't say anything about that. And then a PK. Well, we're hoping you're going to make that. And then he had a good game where he basically ran over a defender who they had basically thrown in the towel at that point,
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a good goal. But still, that's 3 goals. In how many games has he played? How many shots has he missed? I mean,
look at his.
I'm not saying he's
Rich,
not
look
good.
at his goals per 90. Look at his. He's almost leading the league in goals per 90. He's been very efficient with his time played. It doesn't seem like it, but he also hasn't played that many games because of injury.
Yeah, but I don't think he's producing like he could, though. You know what
Certainly,
I mean?
he's. I don't think he's not. He's not the solution for sure. He's not. It's not the long-term solution. But I think you're right. I think you are. I don't think we're arguing the fact that he. I don't think he is a perfect fit for the system. I think the system has improved him over previous years. I think he's done better. I think he does better with this system than he did under Ben Olsen's system. I just think that's the statistics bear that out. But I do not think that he is an unquestioned starter on a good team, and that's why he's not right now. I think he's in contention. He's paid like a starter, like you mentioned, Rich. Like he is paid to be your number 9 every week, but that's not the case. So we've got to adjust and try to make do with the players that we do have at the disposal.
Yeah, I'd like to see, and while he's good compared to the other scorers in MLS, I don't think there's been as much scoring as there has been in some past years. Like especially with guys like Altidore not scoring, things like that. But I think that we can see how good these younger guys are. And I hope that he keeps putting in the younger guys, because I'd like to see us putting in more guys that fit his system. Let Losada get some more people. Don't re-sign guys like him that may not fit your system. Let him play it out. Loan him out if you can. If he gets hot, maybe we can even sell him. Who knows? But get these young guys in. All these guys are showing really well, the young guys, and if we can grow young guys, get our homegrown system going, go young guys, and be a selling team, man, we would be awesome. We would be like, that's what we want to be. We want to be the young pressing team that has a great system, produces stars, and send them to Europe. In my opinion. I mean,
I think that's where we're at too.
Yep.
And one thing I want
exactly
to say about
at.
the Toronto. Yeah, one more thing. I'll let you guys go. The one thing is it just bears out by Toronto trying to force. Well, I don't know that he's really that bad of a coach, but trying to force that system on those players wasn't a great fit. You know what I mean? And
I think we might have lost Rich there, but yeah, I think that's. Oh, are you here? All right, Brian. I'll probably. Thanks, Rich. Yeah, I think there was lots of comments about the fact that Chris Armas got put in, said we're going to play a pressing system, did not get to make any signings to do so, and then started and played an entire season in Florida. So not really great outcomes for him, but I don't really care because we got him fired. And I want Toronto to be bad.
Here's the thing. I do want to drop a little bit of. I wonder. I think if I think Rich's point is good. I think it was pretty clear. I mean, when you have your quote unquote best player be like, I'm out, I'm not doing this anymore. It's pretty clear. I do think it was a case of a bad fit. You know, we see basically Losada and Chris Armas trying to do the same thing. Now, I think Losada's a little more charismatic, but I am not. Seeing what Losada's been able to do, I think Chris Armas could have been a better fit. I am happy with what we have. I am not at all advocating that we should have had Chris Armas over Ronaldo Losada. But I think this was a case. I think Chris Armas got put in a bad situation, and this is a team on the downward spiral. And a lot of people made the point they should have found somebody, or they should have made, or Armas should have come in and said, okay, I gotta just ride this out. Let me not, ruffle any feathers. Let me not try to do anything crazy. Let me just ride this out, and then maybe in a couple of years I get to do what I want. Him trying to go in nope, this is what we're going to do, was not going to go well with that type of team, especially with the success they've had. This was one of the best teams in MLS. So,
I think he was the sacrificial lamb to get you to the next point in Toronto. You lost your star coach. You weren't going to be able to spend this year because of the pandemic. You had to have a person. I think he was. I think you said it. He was in a bad spot, and I think if he had come in and said, "I'm system agnostic. I don't care, Josie, do whatever you want," I don't think he might have lasted either. I think the results were just the results.
It is a lot easier to do what Losada did. Come into a team that had a awful season, a coach that, let's just say it, didn't really. There was never really a game. There was never a game plan in 2020. There was never a plan of what we want to be. I don't think you ever really heard that from Ben Olsen. And then here's a guy who comes in and immediately is like, nope, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this, this, and this. And if you guys trust me, I'll get you there. And has the charisma to pull it off, the charisma to buy in the team. And I think that's what we're seeing with DC United and Ronaldo Losada. He has got these players to buy in. When you're directionless and you have somebody that comes in and says, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. It can give a little bit of a boost. And I think that's what DC need. Not when you have a team that very clearly had an identity, had a direction, had all those things, had won championships, and he's like, nope, what you're doing is wrong. We're going to do this. You're going to be like, no, we're not listening to this guy. Forget you. We got to talk about the Brendan Heinzek injury. I'm going to fold in the Paul Arriola injury, because now that's looking like that's not as bad, just some tightness on his ankle. But let's talk about Brendan Heinzek. Stephen Goff dropping the news that he apparently has suffered a hip injury, could miss substantial time. I don't know if that is season ending. I don't know if that is 2 months. We'll find out some more info. That's not good. Not good is the way to say it. Of the injuries, though, I mean, okay, let me tell this. If you found out, if you didn't know about this Brendan Heinzek news and you find out, which world are you more comfortable? Which timeline are you in? The timeline where the injury to Paul Arriola last month was terrible and he's out for 2-3 months, or are you more upset with the Brendan Heinzek injury and Paul Arriola being okay conceivably?
I don't know. I think I hate all of them. I don't want any of these. These universes are all bad.
It's a bad, man. It's a pick your poison. That's what it is.
I think we have other. I think Birnbaum coming back and being healthy and being an option is good news. I think Alfaro can deputize to some degree. I wish Pines were not with the national team and not going to play, because I think that he probably won't. Maybe one group stage game.
I would say Martinique would be a potential place you might see him make an appearance. I could see that. That's the weakest opponent of the three in the group. I'm going to say I choose this timeline over the other one. If I gun to my head, I have to make a choice. This team has depth at the very least than having it. Losing Paul Arriola means you're relying on a guy, like we said, who has not proven he can do what he can do, and a lot of things that Paul Arriola does makes his team go. I am more worried about this team on the offensive front than I am actually on the defensive front, because they've shown they can be a pretty solid team defensively with Tony Alfaro, with Andy Nahar, with obviously Steve Birnbaum coming back is going to be a solid defensive piece for this team. So I am not so concerned about this team defensively than I am, I guess, about this team offensively if they lose Paul Arriola. So that's sort of my vote on the timeline.
And then there's an update, right, from Paul's injury that he was okay, but going to stay with the team. So
Yeah.
I guess that's good, right? That means it's not a major injury because he probably wouldn't want to. His club team would probably not allow him to rehab a major injury with the national team when he's not going to play for a month. So maybe it's like you said, maybe it was tightness. I hope he doesn't play for a while.
I think it was a big picture type move. Obviously Paul wants to be on the national team.
Yep.
He was a part of this national team, sort of heading in, and now he's seeing all this competition. His move to Swansea didn't really generate what he wanted. He is trying to keep himself at least in the national team picture. But I think there was a recognition. When he gets that tightness. He's like this game against Haiti is not going to make or break me. I would much rather come out of this game, save myself potentially getting more injured, having to go down again for another month, not being able to play. I want to make sure I'm healthy coming back to DC, because playing well there is what's going to help sort of drive me into qualifying, into other things. So I think it was very much a big picture type move from him, and a good recognition. And that's what I think a younger player, younger Paul Arriola might tries to push through that.
Kim is pointing out that Brendan Heinzike was on crutches at the Alajuelense game, so probably a little bit of a longer term situation.
I do wonder the timing of this is a little interesting, because there weren't any games he played pretty much throughout. So I don't know if this is something he picked up in training. I'm wondering if they identified something and they are like, well, we can't have this now. And basically, they do that where it's like, well, he can play through it, but then he's eventually going to need surgery. We'll see what happens. I don't know. The timing of this just seemed a little interesting. We get a guy back and then it's down for an injury. So we'll see what happens
I bet we will get media availability this week to get some more answers on his long-term prognosis and what the injury actually is. But like you said, we have more depth there than we do other places. He's played 11 starts, other than the one game where he got punched in the eye. Did he play that game where he posted the picture on Instagram where he had a black eye? And
he didn't. No,
that was the one game he didn't play.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been a rock for this team. Yeah, we'll absolutely miss him. I think the team can manage with him. I'm hopeful this is like a 1 to 2 month type thing, and he can kind of come back for the home stretch. That is my that is my hope. That is my hope.
Kim again helping us out here. Heinzike was hurt in the TFC game. So
okay.
There we go. Hopefully it's like, let's cross our fingers. Everybody, if you have any special injury dances, do it for Paul and do it for Brendan, because I think that's we're humming right now, right? Like we want to have all of our guns at the table here. We are really starting a part of the season where we really want to start picking up some points and get some distance from the middle.
And there's some tough games coming up for DC. Obviously, the big one right now is against Philly, which we're going to have a preview. The Duke by the River podcast will be coming on. They'll preview that game, so we'll save what are some of our thoughts of that game for that. But yeah, man, you don't want to lose momentum. You have the momentum, you have everything. I stated in my article, this team is firmly in the playoffs, and we certainly want to keep them there. All right, we're going to wrap up a bit, talk a little U.S. Gold Cup 1-0 victory over Haiti. John, I know you have given your opinion on global soccer, but did you watch this game, or did you had to because you saw the Paul injury, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to say for sure that I didn't turn the game off shortly after the injury. I think I stopped watching at halftime. I think I was like, listen, they're not going to put Pines on. Listen, club over country. They had the Nations League. Was it Nations League that they won? Was that the tournament that they won that? Okay. Yeah. They did win the made up tournament and I got very excited. And then they made a hype video after that. And I liked that too. But then they started hurting the players that I care about. And I don't know if Donovan's going to play too much. So I did not watch the entire game. I think that there are lots of, and you're going to probably get into this, like lots of concern at this being a 1-0 game against Haiti. But I haven't watched enough Haiti. Haiti has done well apparently in qualifying or in recent games. I think it's, everything aside, it's wild to me that they're just playing games as their president got assassinated last week, and there's like mayhem in the streets. So
5 or
it's
6
just wild
COVID cases as well with the team.
Yeah,
they had
it's wild that it's just like, yep, we're playing. Yep, this is what's going on. But tell me more about you. You have a richer perspective on this game, I think.
I have a richer perspective. I think the important thing is a lot of people, obviously, I get a little upset. The general consensus of the USMNT fan base, there are a lot of people. It's not everybody. There are a lot of people that go week in and out, follow their local teams, but there are a lot of people that I think the idea, everybody's like, well, why isn't Matthew Hoppe starting? It's the narrative that if he plays in Europe, he must be good, so he should be playing. And I'm not going to lie and say I want to see Matthew Hoppe out there. He's my boy. I'm rooting for him to hopefully get out of Schalke.
You bet on him to score goals a couple times.
Yes, I did, because I was trying to ride that train. But I think what U.S. soccer fans need to realize is you're not going to be able to 100%. You're going to need quality MLS talent in this national team if you want to be deep, if you want to make World Cup qualifying runs. These qualifying runs are going to be brutal. So I actually think right now that I think that Berhalter made the absolute 100% right choice in what he did. And he said, we have so much talent in Europe. I think we can be competitive in this Gold Cup. We may not win it, but I want to know who I can trust. I want to get some assessment on some of these players. I want to build out some depth here. I want to know, and we got some good information from this game. So I think there are a lot of people that are, I saw on football. I'm curious. I want to watch Football Americas because Sebi Salazar and Herc Gomez were apparently ready to light into this U.S. roster. And Greg Berhalter, but I think he wanted to go. I think he wanted to go in this game. He picked a safe lineup to get the win. He got the win, got the 3 points. That's what matters. I think the more interesting is going to be who he plays at Martinique, and then obviously the game against Canada, because Canada looked really, really good against Martinique. Canada is on the precipice of being a decent national team. If they can get out of their own way, I think they'll be a really, really good national team coming up. But basically, some players look good. I like Kellen Acosta was really good. Obviously, Sam Bynes gets the goal. Really nice play. I think it was Walker Zimmerman on the pass that kind of opened things up. He had a really good game too. I really like Walker Zimmerman. If you want to talk about a place that needs center back depth, it's the U.S. men's national team. And I think Walker Zimmerman could provide something like that, especially in qualifying. And then you also have Shaq Moore. I thought he was really good. He was excellent, I thought, in this game. Players that didn't do good, obviously Paul Rulo going to have the inertia. I think the player that gets the most hate of any national team player right now is Jackson Ewell, and I think he kind of deserves it. He kind of deserves it in a way. And Kim Cole said the ESPN Pro Mexico guys were looking to tear in the U.S. until the El Tri tied TNT. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Mexico going out and tying Trinidad and Tobago. Obviously, a horrible injury for Chucky Lozano in that game. I think that definitely kind of took the wind out of the sails. But I think the difference between what Mexico is trying to do and what the U.S. is trying. The U.S. is trying to figure out, okay, who are our guys that we can bring on a World Cup qualifying roster? Who's our bench? What's our bench going to look like? Because we know the starters. We know basically who the starters are, and who can we fill out some roles. Mexico needs to go out and win this game, so they're bringing their A team. So it certainly wasn't a good showing from them. Other than that, I'd say everybody just keep calm. They're going to be, Martinique hopefully looks a little bit better. They're by far the weakest team in the group, but everybody just needs to relax. This team is probably not going to win this tournament. I think they are certainly underdogs to win this tournament. They may not even honestly, they may not even make the final. And I think the important thing to realize too is these guys haven't played together. Everybody wants to talk about, we should have rolled over Haiti. I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. The talent is probably better on the field, but that Haiti team has probably at least played together. They know each other, and that can make a difference in a soccer team. If you go to a job and you've worked with the same team for years, you know what everybody's going to do. You're going to be a lot more effective than if you're just thrown in with a bunch of random people. Maybe you've worked with some, but you haven't worked completely. That's basics. That's basics. And it's the same with soccer. We all expect these national teams that players come together and we expect them to steamroll everybody. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in CONCACAF either. CONCACAF is not easy. it's not easy. The quality maybe isn't there, but it's certainly not easy. So
You don't get into
there's
the
my rant.
Confederations. You don't get into Confederations Cup anymore for winning Gold Cup, right?
Nope. The Confederations
So
Cup
this
is
is-
over. I think the
This
Nations
is
League
just a thing
kind
to
of
do.
Yeah, this is just it's a tournament. It is still your regional competition. You still want to do well.
Sure.
But I think it's also it's important to understand what the long-term goal is. Do we want to make the Gold Cup and miss out on the World Cup again, or do we want to maybe sacrifice this Gold Cup, have a stronger team going into World Cup qualifying, and ultimately qualify for the World Cup? We all want to qualify for the World Cup in this regard. So, and I still think this team has a good chance of making the final. Against Mexico. I still think there's a lot of talent there. Well, the substitutions, Busio, another player I have in there. I thought he looked really good in that role.
He'll be going to Serie A most likely. He was being linked to Sporting in Portugal, and now looks like it's going to be the team from Venice. They have the United States has won the Gold Cup 6 times since 1991. So this is quasi dominant. Mexico has won it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So we're chasing Mexico in a historical perspective. But like you said, I don't think it will be this one. I don't think we're going to make up ground on this one. And maybe Mexico won't either based on this first game. But I think the United States is using this as an opportunity to figure out what their depth chart looks like going forward and figure out where there are positions of, where there's some doubt on who's going to make teams. There are some, you talked about all the great players in Europe. Maybe the midfield is set. Maybe that you're pretty comfortable there, but there are other positions where it's not so clear. So if you can use this tournament and not win to sort of decide what your 1, 2, and 3 look at in every single position, then job well done. Make it competitive. Don't lose in the group stage. That would be very difficult looking at this group draw to do, but you never know.
Yeah, and I think I think right now I think winning that game was important because I think it pretty much, means you're going to qualify unless there's something completely unforeseen, which again, unforeseen things have happened to the U.S. men's national team. You got to figure they can get by Martinique. Then you've qualified for the next round. Then you're just looking at a game against Canada, which I think would be a good match. I'm definitely going to want to try to check out that match. But yeah, I guys enjoy it. We got the Olympics too coming up too. The women's team also will be playing in the Olympics. I'm sure we're going to do some coverage of that. Got those 4:30 a.m. start times, man. You gonna be waking up at
Yeah, no. I think no. Please God, no. If I'm up that early, something has gone horribly wrong with my child, and I'm gonna have a bad day.
But hey, no. at least you get some Olympic soccer to watch, John.
This is true. It's like if I was getting excited to watch A-League soccer, and that was just my time. There was a time during the pandemic when I was getting up at 4 a.m. Well, that was when my child was very, very young, so that was normal. But and watching Korean Baseball League and A-League when it was on. There was a weird time. That's a part of my. I'll never do it again. It was a part of my past that I will not recreate. But there's some early morning sports if you want it, and I think we will definitely watch those games on replay. That's how you and I will interface with the Olympics. I think.
I am going to try. I'm actually looking the good thing about the Olympics is that it does line up with my vacation, so it's like I don't have to go to work. I think the first game I'm going to have to see. I'm going to have to figure that out. But who
are they playing in their groups? Do you have that info in front of you?
I know it is Sweden, Australia, and New Zealand. It looks very
good job.
It looks like they're playing the same teams in the Olympics, but they're playing like the same teams because the New Zealand flag and Australian flag are very similar, but it is very different. Tom Sermani was not happy, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. Where
no
players
we were talking about that in the press box. I think there's a lot of things at play there. I think that there might have been some saving face for players who maybe didn't want to be released early for New Zealand, and the coach sort of had to say we want these players here. He's employed by the New Zealand Football Association, so his job is that's his priority. But I don't think it's going to make a big difference for them overall. Abby Erceg, one of those players, played pretty well for the Courage, but they lost 2-0, and now she's on a plane. So I don't think New Zealand were were a fave to begin with. But I think this is a tournament that the U.S. really takes seriously. The Olympics, like I always was the men clearly don't take it very seriously because they keep not making it and don't really care. But the women really do. The players, you can tell when they talk about how important it is for them to win a gold medal, they want to win it. So watch out, rest of world. I have a feeling they're up for it.
And just so you're aware, so the schedule basically works out. It's like you got the first game is at 4:30 in the morning on the 21st. That might be a little tough to do on a work week. Maybe I'll probably be able to have the replay just sitting up on my computer while I work. And then you've got the New Zealand game at 7:30 on Saturday. Okay, that's reasonable. That's a reasonable time. And then I guess the next game is at like 4 a.m. on the 27th. I'll be on vacation at that point, so I might be able to check out that game at its normally scheduled time. I'll have to be like quiet about it because my whole family will be sleeping around the place. So, but I'm going to make an effort maybe to check out that game. And then obviously the group stage and those games. So it's going to be a weird tournament. It's not going to be the usual normal fun we get with the Olympics. So, and I think this is going to be the one Olympics I'm probably not going to be. Usually I get really into it. Like I watch the swimming events, I watch the track, but with everything being so early, this is like the one Olympics where like the little highlight show that everybody complains about is an actual good thing. Like
NBC is going to be in heaven. They're going to have primetime viewers at night because no one else is going to want to get up that early. So this works out for them. Now, obviously, when you're NBC and you're paying for you're streaming all of it. You have it on Peacock, I'm sure. Like you'd like everyone to watch it live, but at least in this case, you can sell advertising for prime time and make a lot of money.
Oh
so
yeah,
I'm going to watch as much.
It's going to be incredible.
Yes, I will be doing that for sure. That's going to kick MLB to the curb. And I'm going to watch esoteric summer sports that I don't care about, but I'm going to be like, let's go, number one, USA, ribbon dancing.
I mean, there was the I don't know, like the curling. The curling last year was the big one. I remember checking that out for the Winter Olympics.
Do they still do the thing with the ribbon where they throw it up in the air and they catch it like a gymnastics?
Oh, the rhythmic
thing?
Gymnastics. Yeah, that's still there.
All right, maybe that's what I'm going to be tuning in for. I love it.
All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for this show. So Jonathan M says, I remember Korea, Japan, 2002 dreadful mornings. I will never forget my dad that he did not let me watch USA Mexico in that round of 16 game. I wanted to do it, and he was like, "No, you should go to bed. You got this." And he regrets that to this day, by the way. So, I'm
sure whatever you had was very important, Ted. I'm sure that whatever that was
it was golf. Important. It was golf and tennis camp. It was it was during the summer. Like, what do I have during the summer? School was out Ted, at that point.
You're a well-known PGA Tour player, so it's very important that you did that. Clearly, your life has been improved.
Clearly.
All right, folks. I have on my board behind me, it says to do. I took my work board fell off the wall and I wrote to do, join our Patreon, but you can't read it, but it's there. So this is a call to you if you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/RFKrefugees. If you want to follow us on Twitch, which enough of you have done now, which is fantastic. Very soon you're going to be able to, and we're going to get into this, don't worry. But you'll be able to give us your Amazon Prime subscription so you can give us money and it won't even cost you anything. So that's the best kind of, free money given to someone else is just the best kind of thing. So you can do that. We're also going to have a butt ton of interviews this week. So make sure you're subscribed to the podcast itself. Patreons will get all of these interviews early. We'll have Ashley Hatch on the show. We'll have most likely Kevin Paredes on the show and Ted's aforementioned preview of the Philly game with Duke by the River. So make sure that if you want those episodes early, join us on Patreon. If you don't want them early and want them late, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on whatever you use. Go to rfkrefugees.com/subscribe and click whatever system you want to use.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys are incredible. Like John said, support us on Patreon, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/rfkrefugees. You guys are amazing. You guys make the show awesome, and we will catch you guys
a lot of times this week.
Yeah, a lot of times.